Okay. So a lot of people know about your political stances on certain, hot button issues. The first one, I'm sure you have really nothing interesting to say at all, but how do you feel overall about Obama's presidency?
It's a fake. It's an imposition. It's an installation. He wasn't voted in, he was installed. Jimmy Carter wasn't voted in, he was installed. These vote-o-vatic machines they've got made by one company, and they get paid to set them for house odds like a slot machine. That's just my opinion, because he would never got voted in. Jimmy Carter would never got voted in. They gave him Nobel Peace Prize to make him think there's somebody, see, but I don't make any difference. If I don't Nobel's having a fit, he probably used a couple of sticks of dynamite up there, if you knew it.
Yeah, and the big news out of Washington this week has been the passage of gay marriage, ostensibly through the repeal of the DOMA.
I think they ought to let them do it and keep the AIDS in their own family.
Oh, wow.
No, I do. Keep it in their own family. Spread it around to folks that are not unusual. Now, everybody's entitled to what they want to do, but the thing about it, see, they rub your nose in it. No pun there intended. I have no qualms or no concessions or any reticence for people doing what they want to do, but the book of the law says each and every man and woman is a star, and stars in their own orbit don't collide. You get out of your orbit, you collide with another star and throw the whole universe out. Because they're the same way with people. You're in your own little section here and do what you want to do, you're fine. They do what they want to do, fine. But if he goes into yours, he goes into his, you're throwing the whole thing out. Just like now Congress passed a law against people, two people of unusual, whatever they have that's unusual, wanting a maid or something, wanting to get together thing. Let them do it. I'm not for it, but let them do it if that's what they want to do. And if they're wrong, they got to pay for it. If I'm wrong, I got to pay for it. I haven't walked in nobody else's shoes all my life, I guess, so I don't know what anybody's background is.
So how do you feel about the possibility of legalizing marijuana?
I think it's a good way to make the populace more pleasant and easier to control and easier to take over when they decide to. Let everybody is stoned out of the tree and they don't get no opposition. I don't do it myself, never did. I know a lot of people that did, but I've seen that go from that to hard stuff and to sitting in a wheelchair with a nose drip and burn out the septum. So I don't advocate it, but like I say, if people want to do it, they got to pay for it, except for the fact that taxpayers got to pay for taking care of them when they get incapable of taking care of themselves, sit around and mess in their drawers and nose drip. And I've seen it happen to two ambulance drivers I know in Atlanta, two brothers. His nurse had a key to the cabinet, so they stayed on something. Now this is a long time ago, it's in the 40s. Ambulance wide open. But anyway, he finally wound up in a wheelchair with his nose dripping, can't control his bowels or nothing, just keeping that stuff. So it's scary.
So how do you feel about all this NSA stuff with the government spying on people's online data?
It's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's the same thing it always has been. NSA, SIS, CID, NUS, TRASNOS, everybody in the world has a secret army. And they're in the other people's place and they're interfering with our stars.
Probably the most controversial subject in America. How do you feel about abortion?
I'm not really qualified that I can say how I feel about it. But I don't like kids anyway. Because I used to be one. I guess that's the reason probably, huh? No, it's just, I think that a female should have control enough not to put herself in a position where she has necessitated abortion. Put it that way. And if she don't, and gets in there, I think she should have to raise the dummy, keep it forever, and account for it and the guy that did it. They should be made to account for their own mistakes or their passion or their bedroom indiscretions. But see, I never had any kids. I knew what caused them, so I didn't want any. But I had to pay for everybody else's bedroom indiscretions for school tax and all this other tax. So you don't get away.
Yeah, over the last couple of years, there's been lots of cries of secession from some organizations. Do you think it's realistic?
No. That's all rhetoric. That's all fuss and feathers. A lot of people say, let's succeed, but to succeed, it'd be like when we sent the colored people back to Liberia. Sent them back there, and they couldn't exist without the white man, so they all died. So in 62 or 63, Lincoln had a conference with a bunch of the free blacks and told them if they would gather their people together, he would send them to Brazil because there's plenty of work and all they could do is there, and they weren't qualified to be in with the white people. Lincoln told me, I got a newspaper, actual paper from back when he told them that. So it's like everything, it's a farce. But whatever comes out on the TV or in the newspaper or the magazine is the truth, believe me. Particularly from eBay.
Yes. So you and I both have something in common. We're both proud Georgian boys. Is that correct? Just grew up in, were you born in Georgia?
Oh yeah, about 80 miles in that direction. My folks were sharecroppers.
Yeah, so you've lived in the South basically your entire life?
Not yet. I'm working on it. I'm getting pretty close there. My string's running out, my teeth getting long. Howdy.
Yeah. So what can you tell to people that perhaps, live in other parts of the country? What misconceptions do they have about the South and the people that live in it?
All you gotta do is pick up a newspaper, print it somewhere else, and you can find out. Actually, the first misconception, we're all barefooted, which I generally am in the summertime, and we're all deliverance examples. Matter of fact, in 2020, the guy that did the interview here, he did a good interview. Well, he didn't get me in anything, but when he put out the Newsweek, he compared everybody in Georgia with the people from Deliverance. So you read Newsweek, and all of us down here got negative when we flog our banjo, among other things, and then have unusual relationships with the males. That's what he implied. And he was Tom Dickey's brother's son. Tom Dickey, I knew him real well. His brother wrote Deliverance. And this was his son with the Newsweek that did this.
So what is the South really like then?
I don't know. I've never been in it that much. I think on my own concept of it, we were reared, well, I was reared, to respect womanhood, to work for what you got, and to be truthful and honest. And that's about the rest of the stuff will come. That's what we were taught. There's none of that anymore. Matter of fact, this morning, I had this girl bring me from a car lot, not the car lot, the car repair place up here, and I went and opened her door, and she liked the Florida. She didn't know what to think about it. I said, well, I can't help it. I said, I was taught this. Old Southern boys get this kind of thing. We honor the women. We do this out of respect and courtesy. And she said, boy, that's nice. I said, well, the reason people haven't doing it is women's live. That killed most of this stuff. If you want to be a man, be a man. But I ain't got it out of my system being a Southern gentleman.
So what do people not know about the Civil War?
They don't know that it wasn't caused by slavery. That was a secondary thing. States' rights was secondary. It was economic. We were sending them like 100 and something thousand bales of cotton up there, something in that time, for their shops and all. They were charging us tariff to buy our cotton. We had to pay them to buy our cotton. So we said, tell you what, we'll send it to England and Belgium and all this, and they'll pay us more and won't charge no tariff. So those boys in the garment district like to have a fit. The Jews got the sweatshops and always really bad. It was worse than slaves. They didn't feed them or nothing. But anyway, they sent to what they call lobbying now, said we've got to have that material. So I said, what we'll do, we'll threaten them and they'll back down. They threatened us and we didn't. And then, of course, it's in the firing the first shot. Do you know that? Yeah, Fort Sumter. Anderson was supposed to, whenever we taken over, it was a completely different country. That's the reason it's a war between the states instead of a civil war. Anderson had a chance to take his troops and leave, and all the forts did. And he didn't, and Lincoln told him to resupply the fort. And when he did that, we fired on him. They said, look, they started a war. That's just more conception.
When you go on the internet and you go to Google and you type in Dent Myers, the first entry that pops up is a SPLC report, which says some pretty disparaging things about you.
So what?
Exactly.
It's PR, I don't care. They think, actually what they're doing, they're messing up their karma. They'll never be able to slough that off. They'll be carrying that for the rest of eternity going back to a lower type of whatever they were to start with. You just don't do that to people. I don't care what they do, but see, they're out of their orbit. They're somebody's star. They're insecure. They have to do something about somebody else to make them feel superior. When they do that, it makes them feel less big, and so they do it over. Like a gossip the same way. They can load and down size everybody and chastise somebody else because they feel so inferior themselves. It's just inferior complex. They'll never be anything, never do anything, but they have to do something to somebody else that they think will make them bigger. But you don't.
Mm-hmm.
They just grind some more of the sand off their feet. But that's okay. If that's their life, they got to pay for it. I don't have to. Let them go to it.
Mm-hmm. So when people accuse you of being a racist, how do you feel?
Doesn't bother me. Everybody's a racist. Everything's a racist. Bugs are racist. Cats are racist. Dogs are racist. You don't see them intermingling. Birds, you don't see a crow go over and say, "Hey, Blue Jay, come here a minute." Man has stepped out of his regular context to do this. I'm not a Christian or anything like that, but it's just a matter of biology. And if a lot of people think that they need, that they're the queen of the jungle and they need a black person to be their savage or their subject or something, let them go to it. Because eventually, all this is going to come around. It doesn't matter.
All right,
Not to me, anyway.
Yeah, my final question for you is, how old are you again?
What?
How old are you again?
Again, I'm still 82.
82?
Yeah.
Okay. So in your 82 years on this earth, what can you tell us about the key to finding happiness in life?
The key to happiness has been lost a long time ago because everybody has different concepts of it. They have the key, but they don't have the right lock. And happiness is a vague, false tingling bell, because what people consider happiness is mostly false impressions. What somebody has told them they'd be happy. I'll be happy if I go get drunk this weekend. I'll be happy if I had $100. I'd be happy if I got a new car. That's not happiness. Happiness is if you have a genuine, glowing internal feeling about something. And I don't think anybody has anything around them that does it anymore. I mean, it's a radiance, an internal radiance. But happiness is a misused word. Like love. Love's the same way by saying, "Boy, I love you." What are you talking about? That's another thing. It's just overused. It's like race. Race is overused. It don't mean what it used to mean. It just means a knee-jerk word now to confound somebody. But like I said, all this is just my opinion and has nothing to do with anything. Never will, never have. Do die, do die.